The Cosby Show, a timeless sitcom that aired from 1984 to 1992, brought laughter, love, and a sense of pride to millions of African-American families across the United States. It wasn't just a TV show, it was a cultural phenomenon, a beacon of hope, and a stage that launched the careers of many young, talented actors into the spotlight. But behind the warm smiles and hearty laughs was a reality far darker than anyone imagined. Beneath the polished surface of fame lay pain, loss, and silent suffering. From promising newcomers to seasoned veterans, many of the show's beloved stars found themselves entangled in a web of tragedy. Their real lives were not marked by lasting happiness or success, but by heartbreak, controversy, and, in some cases, haunting ends. In this emotional journey, we invite you to uncover the untold stories and turbulent paths that these actors walked long after the cameras stopped rolling. Discover the rise and fall of lives once adored by millions, as we peel back the curtain on the hidden heartache behind the smiles that once lit up our screens. Ethel Aaylor, 1930 to 2018, played Carrie Hanks, Claire Huxtable's elegant and commanding mother in The Cosby Show. Born in Whistler, Alabama, Ethel was a formidable presence on both stage and screen. Her voice carried the dignity of generations, and her performance in films like Eve's Bayou, 1997, and The Bodyguard, 1992, showed the deep emotional reservoirs she could summon. Despite her grace and talent, Aaylor spent her final years in relative obscurity, tucked away in a senior facility in Southern California, far from the Broadway lights that once celebrated her. She never married and had no children, dedicating herself wholly to the craft that often forgot to thank her. Friends noted that the loneliness of her twilight years weighed heavily on her. She died quietly in November 2018, the same way she lived much of her life. Overlooked by the industry she once helped elevate. Earl Hyman, October 11, 1926 to November 17, 2017, was a commanding presence on both stage and screen, best remembered by many as the warm, yet dignified Russell Huxtable, Cliff Huxtable's father on The Cosby Show. His deep, resonant voice also brought life to the animated character Macbeth in various adaptations, revealing his rich background in classical theater, particularly with Shakespearean works. A lifelong devotee of the stage, Hyman spent much of his life abroad in Norway, where he found more artistic freedom and perhaps a quieter place to be himself. Never married and without children, he lived a private life, with whispers of a long-term same-sex relationship with a fellow actor, though he never publicly addressed it. Despite the applause and accolades, Earl's final years were spent in a New Jersey nursing home, fading quietly into the margins. He died of age-related complications, largely alone, far from the spotlight that once revered him, a gentle soul who gave the world so much, only to leave it in quiet obscurity. Joe Williams, 1918 to 1999, played Al Hanks, the charismatic and musically gifted father of Claire Huxtable in The Cosby Show. A legendary jazz singer whose rich baritone voice could melt even the hardest hearts, Joe brought elegance and depth to his character, drawing from a lifetime of soulful performances. Born in Cordele, Georgia, and raised in Chicago, Joe endured poverty and racism, but found salvation in music. His fame soared with the Count Basie Orchestra in the 1950s, but personal happiness proved elusive. He struggled with depression for many years, often masking his pain with humor and song. Married 3 times, none of his unions endured. He longed for emotional stability, but was betrayed by fame's isolating grip. His only child, a daughter, died young, a loss that haunted him until his final days. On March 29, 1999, he was found dead in his Las Vegas home after suffering a fatal fall. He had wandered from his house, disoriented, and collapsed in the desert heat. A tragic end for a man whose voice once filled the world with warmth. Michelle Thomas was born in 1968, a radiant spark in the entertainment world whose charm and talent endeared her to millions. She played Justine Phillips, the intelligent and sweet girlfriend of Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Her role was small but memorable. Michelle had a warmth that transcended the screen. She went on to star as Myra Monkhouse on Family Matters, another beloved sitcom of the 1990s, where she portrayed a quirky and devoted girlfriend with boundless affection. But beneath the glow of her rising stardom, a cruel fate was quietly stalking her. In 1997, Michelle was diagnosed with a rare form of stomach cancer, desmoplastic small round cell tumor. The diagnosis came just as her career was blossoming, a bitter irony that shattered the dreams she had nurtured since childhood. Despite enduring multiple surgeries, including the removal of a tumor the size of a baseball, Michelle never stopped smiling in public. She passed away on December 23, 1998, at just 30 years old, surrounded by her family and her ex-boyfriend and lifelong friend, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Her mother, Finjur Thomas, was by her side, her grief unspoken, the pain infinite. The entertainment world lost a rare soul, and her family lost their shining daughter far too soon. Clarice Taylor, September 20th, 1917 to May 30th, 2011, brought matriarchal grace and quiet strength to the screen as Anna Huxtable, the beloved mother of Cliff Huxtable in The Cosby Show. Her warmth and impeccable timing made her a comforting presence, embodying the wisdom and heart of the Huxtable family. Before her television fame, Taylor carved her path in theater and film, including roles in Sanford and Son, 5 on the Black Hand Side, and Play Misty for Me, often portraying nurturing figures with depth and dignity. Off-screen, however, her personal life bore the quiet weight of disappointment. She was married and divorced early, raising 2 sons largely on her own while navigating the racial and gender obstacles of mid-20th century Hollywood. Her children reportedly admired her, but the demands of her career often kept her from them, leaving lingering tensions. In her final years, Clarice battled heart failure and struggled with declining health. When she passed away at age 93, it was in her home, surrounded by fading memories of a life spent giving more to her art than she ever took for herself. Her death was peaceful, but the loneliness of those last years echoes with a soft sorrow, a reminder that even those who bring light to others may leave this world quietly, longing to be remembered. Merlin Santana came into the world in 1976, blessed with a charismatic screen presence and piercing intensity that would captivate audiences. On The Cosby Show, he played Stanley, Rudy Huxtable's charming young suitor, a role that brought a new dynamic to the show's final seasons. Santana's talent flourished through the 90s as he took on roles in series like Moesha and The Steve Harvey Show, where he portrayed the slick and ambitious Romeo Santana. But behind the Hollywood curtain, his life was marked by complexity and an aching vulnerability. He was a devoted father to a young daughter, whom he adored and strove to support, though his romantic life was less stable, marked by betrayals and emotional fallout. In one of the most heartbreaking events in the world of young Black entertainers, Merlin was murdered on November 9, 2002, at just 26 years old. He was sitting in a car in Los Angeles when he was shot in the head, a senseless act incited by lies from a teenage girl who falsely accused him of inappropriate behavior. Her accusation led 2 men to ambush Merlin in a misguided and brutal act of vengeance. The shock of his death left a chilling silence in the hearts of his loved ones, and his mother, who had guided him into the world of acting, was left to mourn a son taken by violence and injustice. A brilliant flame extinguished in its prime, Merlin Santana's death was not just a tragedy. It was a sorrowful testament to how a promising life can be stolen by the weight of another's cruelty. Elaine Stretch, born in 1925, brought her sharp wit and stage-honed charisma to her role as Mrs. McGee on The Cosby Show. Though her appearance was brief, Stretch's larger-than-life presence left a memorable mark. A veteran of Broadway, she dazzled in Stephen Sondheim's Company, 1970, as the acerbic Joanne, delivering the iconic "The Ladies Who Lunch" with a haunting, boozy defiance that became her signature. She also appeared in films such as Cocoon, The Return, 1988, and Screwed, 2000, and earned fresh acclaim later in life for her Emmy-winning work on 30 Rock. But Elaine's triumphs on stage masked a deeper loneliness. Her lifelong battle with alcoholism, which she addressed with searing honesty, reflected her inner turmoil. Years spent searching for meaning beyond the footlights. Her one great love, John Bay, passed away in 1982, and she never remarried. In her later years, Elaine returned to Michigan, fighting diabetes and the creeping grip of isolation. She died in 2014 at the age of 89, her sharp tongue silenced, but her legacy forever echoing in dim theaters and empty dressing rooms, a performer's soul who never stopped performing, even when the audience was gone. Lou Meyers, born in 1935, appeared as the affable Mr. Davis on The Cosby Show, a role that showcased his deep well of warmth and humor. Best known for his portrayal of Mr. Gaines, the stern but beloved dining hall manager on A Different World, Meyers lent gravitas and humanity to every role he touched, often portraying authority figures with an undercurrent of vulnerability. His film credits include Tin Cup, 1996, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, 1998, and Wedding Planner, 2001. Off-screen, Meyers was a passionate advocate for African American theater, founding the Global Business Incubation, a cultural arts initiative. But despite his dedication to the arts and community, Lou's personal life was often cloaked in privacy and shadow. He rarely spoke of family, and much of his inner world remains a mystery, lost to time. In 2013, after battling pneumonia and heart-related complications, he passed away at 77. Those who knew him remember a gentle soul, full of wit and wisdom, who left this world quietly, without fanfare. Like a character walking off stage into the dark, the applause still echoing behind him. Felicia Rashad, born in 1948, played Claire Huxtable, the intelligent, elegant, and fiercely loving wife and mother on The Cosby Show. Her performance redefined the image of the American matriarch. She was a lawyer, a partner, a friend, and a force. Rashad brought depth to every line, grounding the show with dignity and warmth. She would go on to appear in films such as For Colored Girls, 2010, and Creed, 2015, and win a Tony Award for A Raisin in the Sun, 2004, becoming a beacon for Black actresses on stage and screen. Yet her own life has carried its share of sorrow. Her marriage to former NFL player and sportscaster Ahmad Rashad ended in divorce, and the pressures of public life often weighed heavily on her. Despite her public grace, she endured family heartaches, including the loss of her sister, famed choreographer and actress Debbie Allen's twin brother, and the burden of defending Cosby, a longtime friend, during his scandals, a stance that drew fierce criticism and left scars in her public and private identity. Though still active and acclaimed, Felicia lives with the bittersweet truth that her most celebrated role is forever tethered to a man whose legacy has become a moral minefield. She remains luminous, but her light is now refracted through years of grief, loss, and unspoken battles. Bill Cosby, born in 1937, rose to extraordinary heights as Dr. Heathcliff Cliff Huxtable, the beloved patriarch of The Cosby Show. With his comedic timing and fatherly warmth, he built a cultural icon, a doctor, a husband, a father, shaping the image of Black American family life for millions. Beyond the show, his work included Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, Uptown Saturday Night, 1974, and I Spy, 1965-68, where he broke racial barriers as the first Black actor to star in a dramatic television series. But behind the genial facade, a darker truth unraveled. In the 2010s, multiple women came forward accusing Cosby of sexual assault and misconduct, accusations that shattered his once untouchable reputation. In 2018, he was convicted of aggravated indecent assault, and though the conviction was later overturned in 2021 on a legal technicality, the emotional wreckage remains vast. His fall from grace devastated generations who once saw him as a moral compass. Estranged from the public and tarnished beyond repair, Cosby's later years have been marked by isolation, disgrace, and a bitter legacy. An artist who built a world of joy while hiding a trail of trauma in the shadows of his success. Though still alive, what has died is the trust, the admiration, and the laughter that once echoed in living rooms across America. What are your thoughts on the passing of the actors from The Cosby Show, and who do you miss the most among them? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our latest videos.